Hello, I'm Rachel. I am a knitter, a crocheter, a mom, a teacher, and a wife. And today I just wanted to do a quick knitting slash crochet check-in just to share some updates about my works in progress, as well as to give some insights and inspiration in hopes that you are having a wonderful crafting time. Today is day 4 of Black History Month here in the United States. And although I am a firm believer that every day is Black History Month, I have been perusing the internet and social media to get new ideas on how to bring Black History Month to life in my classroom other than what I already do. And recently I came across this documentary that talks about various societies in Egypt that used to knit and crochet. So I thought it'd be really great to bring that into the classroom and then talk about some more of the more modern use of yarn and other communities that have really dived into it, and how diving into this craft has brought new awareness about some social issues that people have, as well as some ways to bringing people together too. So I really am grateful for the internet and social media, surprisingly, for giving me these ideas on how to give more light to Black excellence in the United States. And so I'm really excited to partner with my student teachers to craft this particular lesson, because we're going to start with learning about the crafting in Africa and how it's transitioned to other parts of the world and how it's impacted various communities too. So I'm excited about that. And my hope is that I can do a feature on this Black woman whose name escapes me at the moment. I watched her interview, and she's a Black woman who owns her own yarn store. I believe she's the only one that owned, at the time of the interview, she was the only woman of color who owned a yarn store in the area that she was living, or where the area where her business. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to compare and contrast the experiences of the maker that they're learning about to Madam C.J. Walker. So I'm really excited about doing that particular activity. I have the interview, the YouTube interview. I just have to download it and make questions. So with all that said, I'm feeling really inspired about bringing my passion of knitting and crocheting into the classroom, while also at the same time celebrating Black History Month. In addition, I have recently been invited to do a test knit. It's a test knit for Veronika Linberg. This is my third test knit for her, and the other two were highly successful. I did the Salty Days sweater test knit, and it was a wonderful experience. I got a chance to meet some crafters online, and then I did the stripe hype dress, met additional crafters as well. Also too, this young woman who's in California, she has a podcast. Oh my gosh, I'm awful with names today, but anywho, I really enjoy her podcast. She's such a young, bright personality. She's a twin, and she has a younger sister, and all three of them knit and crochet, and they traveled to Sweden and Denmark and have shared their experience there in their tours of different yarn stores. And so it was so much fun to do the testing with her and exchange, because I knew she was also traveling abroad as well at the time. So that was a lot of fun. And so this is my third one. I'm doing the test knit for the sweater that's called Stitches. So I'm really excited about that. And again, to actively participate in the 2 Black History Month make-alongs that I'm doing, I'm using yarn by yarn that's been produced by hand dyers who are Black, or someone who owns their own shop that's Black, or what is the other one, or if the design is. And so obviously Veronika is not Black. So I was able to, find yarn that met the weight, the gauge. But I'm awful with words right now, so great time to be filming. But anywho, I found the yarn that I wanted, so I'm using Tony Lipsy's Happy Place yarn, because I want to stay true to her, because she's one of the main reasons why I am back into crochet. Her tutorials and other videos that she's posted online were so inspiring for me, just to pick up my hook and just start crocheting away. And so I was really happy that I was able to purchase yarn from Hobie in order to support her endeavor in that. In addition to using that yarn, I also plan on using neighborhood fiber yarn. This is a yarn store. It's mostly hand-dyed yarn. Occasionally they will sell yarn that's produced by other entities, but she has this beautiful sock yarn that has a majority of it is superwash merino, but 10% of it is either silk or cashmere, depending on which blend that you have. And I got the yarn when I was at Rhinebeck and I visited their booth, so I'm using that. I have to hold that one double, and it's all in a specific spot, so that's why I don't have it in front of you, because I'm scared I'm going to lose it. But one of the features about this particular make along is, hang on one second, is that you can also participate by using project bags that are produced by Black-owned businesses as well. And this particular project bag, I met this woman on Instagram, and she had her own Etsy shop. I will try to link it into the description. And this is the project bag that I bought from her Etsy shop. Hopefully she still is taking orders, but one of the reasons why I love this bag so much is because of how large it is. And then the other thing I love so much was the picture, because I can just see myself in this picture holding the needles, being cute with your hair and your earrings and your yarn and your feet crossed. And that's pretty much me most evenings, especially when I get time to myself. And so the pattern calls for 4 different colors. So 2 of the colors I am pulling from that's produced by young Black women who are doing so many great things. And my project bag is as well. So I'm really excited about the make along. I hope to attend at least one of the virtual events, but you know, life happens and sometimes it gets in the way of doing that. So we'll see. So that is a whip I'm working on. Don't know. Yeah, I actually am allowed to show pictures of it. She did say that it's not like a secret test knit. So the pattern's working out very quickly. I spent about an hour doing it last night, because I spent more time trying to figure out the colors, because I wanted the palette to be really nice and I wanted it to be something I know I'm going to wear, and not just doing it just for flair, that it's going to be a staple in my wardrobe, because it's a beautiful sweater. And I also wanted to pick a yarn where it's going to be lightweight, because of the weird winter that we've been having, winters, I should say, that we've been having here in Massachusetts for the past few years has not really been extremely cold, where thick, heavy sweaters would be appropriate. And so one yarn I was going to use is bare naked wool. And it's a beautiful yarn. I'm absolutely in love with it. And it has such great stitch definition, because I'm already using their stone suit worsted for my sweater number 19. But I'm going to, I also have it in DK, and I got gauge with it as well, because it's a very thick DK. It's more light worsted than DK. But anywho, I decided to save that yarn for my Moby slipover. I plan to cast that on in a few weeks. My hope is to cast it on in March. I want March to be the month of my socks and vest. I don't know, that's just what popped to mind. But anywho, I'm still trying to do my cables, and my hope is that I can finish my sister-in-law sweater as well as my test knit in order to get that done. I'm going to talk more about my sister-in-law sweater momentarily. In addition, so this is what I was able to do in just 1 hour. I was able to do my gauge the day before. Then I was able to sit uninterrupted for my family, because half the pattern is written in text and the other half of the pattern is in charts, and the charts are very clear. And I did a little refresher for myself just to remember. I mean, I know how to read knitting charts, even color word charts, but it's not my pattern that I'm paying for, and I'm doing this for someone, so I want to make sure I do it well. So I did take them the time out to watch a couple of videos just to remind myself about how to read charts and just making sure that I'm following the pattern correctly. So I am actually on chart A, and I'm ready to start the color work as soon as this is done. So excited about that. This is a top down. You start with knitting and flat in the back, and you pick up stitches and you join it around, and you just work the rest of the way. And some suggestions that I've been getting, not only from Veronika Linberg, because she talked about it in one of her posts on YouTube, but on a couple other YouTube podcasters were identifying that after you work a certain amount on the yoke, just to take a pause and then do the neck. So that way you can figure out the gauge, whatnot, making sure you're still engaged, but also making sure it won't stretch out too much. Just a variety of different reasons. And I'm like, I'm gonna try that out, because I noticed that with some of my sweaters, and it's not like I have a lot, I only have 2 knitted sweaters that I wear on a regular basis, but I'm noticing on my DRK everyday sweater, the collar is starting to stretch out. So I'm actually wet blocking it right now because the fabric has been irritating my skin, and I'm hoping that by soaking it in wool wash fabric softener, it will soften up enough where I can wear it and not have the itchies as well. But I'm enjoying this test knit. I hope to put some quality time into it the week I'm off from work. We have February break coming up, and I have nothing planned. This is the first February in years where there's nothing planned, and it's just, I really just want to do downtime and be home, because after February break, I'm going to be traveling every single month for consultancy work that I also do on the side. As teachers, we aren't paid enough, and so we always have to have a part-time job. So I have a part-time consultancy business that I do where I support teachers who are teaching an AP, which is Advanced Placement College Board class, just to give them the resources that they need, the guidance that they need, and just someone to be a thought partner. And so I'm going to be traveling to do that. So February break, I really want to stay home. I made 1 or 2 play dates for my sons, but other than that, and I might go out with my best friend for her birthday, because her birthday's coming up. So other than that, nothing. So that's all that's like happening on my needles that's active, that's near me. I am still working on the Weekender Light, as I've shared in some of my little bonus videos, if you want to call it. I just completely messed up the sweater, one half of the sweater, because the way that the Weekender Light works, let me just be clear. You start with casting on the back hem, and then you cast on for the front hem, and then you join together. Well, the back hem, the first one I cast on was for a size 3. Then the front hem I cast on was a size 4, and I worked round and round and round, as you may have seen in some of the pictures, got all the way up to the front, then did the ribbing I was supposed to do, then did the back, did the ribbing I was supposed to do. And I noticed that the armhole was really small. And I kept telling myself, like, did I measure properly? And I kept measuring, and my road gauge was correct. I even tried, what else did I do? I checked to make sure my road gauge was right. And then I measured, like, maybe I thought I had 6.5 inches, and I didn't, because I think the size I was doing was for 6.5. And so measured that. I used 2 different measuring tapes just to make sure, because I noticed that some of the more cheaper measuring tapes, sometimes, I don't know, I just don't like this one, for example, the 1 centimeter is covered or whatnot, or the 0 isn't exposed. So yeah, I used 2 different measuring tapes just to make sure that I'm not misunderstanding. I even used my ruler now that I think about it. So anyway, measurements came out perfectly, but when I tried it on, it was super tight. And I was like, well, maybe it's because I was actually wearing this shirt. And I was like, maybe it's because I'm wearing a shirt. So I took this off, and I had on just a tank top, and it still felt bunchy. And I'm like, if I pick up sleeves around, it's going to be really tight for her to wear. And so then the big kicker was I had to reduce the number of stitches for the front hem in order to bind them together. And I kept telling myself, was like, well, maybe I added stitches. Like, that's the reason why. Like, I was trying to convince myself. And then I did the math, and I realized that half of the sweater was for a size 3 and the other half of the sweater was for size 4. And I sat there and I thought about it, and I was like, I could just do this, I could do that. Like, I was going through all different kinds of things in my head. And in just a moment of frustration, I just decided just to frog it. And this was after 2 days of reflecting on it and trying to figure out what are some other things I can do. Even the suggestions I got on online were also coming back saying, like, it may be easier just to frog it, because the sizing issue or that to go down. And then when I was looking at the mock cable that goes down the center and the back, it's off by 2 rows. And so like it's perfectly straight on the front, but in the back it's over by 2 and it's supposed to be on the spine. So when I realized that, I was like, I'm gonna have to fraud this whole project because that's going to bother me. That I could try wet blocking it, but like I will know it's there. And it's one of those knits that I'm not doing it for myself. It's not my yarn, it's her yarn that she purchased especially for me to do this. So it's like I'm almost commissioned to do this and I want to do it right. So I ended up frogging the whole project. I have successfully re-knitted the hem, and I decided to and go up a needle size because although I'm getting gauge for the size, the pattern, it's just too much of a tight fit because I had gauge on the size 3 and the size 4, which I still don't know how, but whatever. So I decided to, and I didn't like the way my hem looked anyway. I thought it looked messy. So I decided to do a twisted rib hem, and instead of doing it for the amount I was supposed to, I chose to do it on a different amount. Excuse me one second.